everybody, this is Hammer Striker here. Today we've got a couple of 45s on the table. We're going to do a quick comparison. These are two that you might be comparing to one another if you're out there looking for a 45 in the compact range, which is kind of halfway between a real deep concealed carry gun and a fun at the range gun. So let's go and do a little bit of talking about these guns. First off, I'll tell you what I've got. I've got a Springfield XDM 3.8 Compact chambered in 45, and I've got a Sig Sauer P320 Compact chambered in 45. The guns are very similar in a number of respects. They're both striker fired guns, they're both drop safe, they both use the Glock style firing mechanism, the standard striker mechanism. They have no external safeties. The magazine releases can be reversed. And neither one of them are true ambidextrous guns in that the controls are all on the left side for a right-handed shooter. They both have Picatinny rails. The P320 has one extra notch on the rail than the XDM. And one of the things you'll find is the P320 is slightly larger. It's 7.2 inches long instead of 7 inches and 5.3 inches long instead of 4.55. That will make a difference if you're trying to conceal carry them. It really doesn't make much of a difference at the range, and as far as the length of the rails, in all likelihood you'll be able to fit any type of accessory you want on either gun. So let's talk about a few of the areas where they're different. We'll start by showing you they're both unloaded, and I'll remove the magazine. And by the way, they do both hold 9+1, so the capacity on these two is the same. The rage these days is being able to customize the grips, and the Springfield has accomplished that with the standard replaceable backstrap. So you can replace this little backstrap component. It comes with 3 replacements to go from a real small one for smaller hands up to a larger one for larger hands. This is the larger one. It's set up for hammer's hands. The Sig has taken a slightly different approach to this, in that the gun itself is a chassis that sits down inside this plastic housing, and that's what the serial number is attached to, not this plastic housing. So you can buy additional plastic housings. And by the way, we do have a video for each one of these guns. I'll put it in the comments, so if you want to look at more details on either one of them, or for example in the case of the Sig, how that chassis comes out, you can look at our video and see more details. The cool part of that is you can take the internals and go between varying size grips, small, medium, and large grips, as well as you could get the, the full-size grip, put that same chassis in it. And theoretically, you could go with the longer and shorter ones. The slide will sit and work with the chassis. It may look a little weird because it may sit, for example, it may end early, or it may hang off the end, but the gun will function. The difficulty I've seen with that is, number one, it's not interchangeable out of the box. So if you've got 2 different shooters in the house that are going to want to use the gun, you can't take it out of the box and immediately customize it for one or the other or switch it. You have to buy additional plastic frames. And we've been attempting to buy the large compact frame for hammer and haven't been able to find them. Whereas the XDM comes with those replaceable back straps, and it's ready to go right out of the box. You do have to punch out a roll pin, but it's really easy to do with just like a Glock disassembly tool. Push it out, pop the back strap off, push it back on, and it works fine. Both of these guns do have dovetail sights. The Sig is available optionally with the Sig Light night sights. The XDM I haven't seen with any factory night sight options, but any night sight that you buy aftermarket that fits the particular dovetail will work fine. In this case, you'll see we've put an aftermarket laser light laser on it that also has a sight built into it, so you've got the laser or your standard sighting. From a functionality standpoint, the XDM worked from the first day we took it to the range. This gun has eaten absolutely everything we've ever put in it, from the cheapest Winchester white box we bought at Walmart to the high-end Federal HST. It's just worked flawlessly. We've actually had no malfunctions from the day we've owned this gun. The P320 has got a little bit more of a history to it. It actually performed quite poorly initially. It was frequently failure to feed and hanging up. Recently it's been working well, so it appears to have a bit of a break-in period. It does seem to have a little bit more ammo sensitivity. I've had a little bit of trouble with weaker ammo like the Champion, the Federal Champion you can buy at Walmart, which is notoriously weak, and many guns have issues with it. The XDM lead it fine, the P320 is a little more temperamental with it. So I would say from a reliability standpoint so far, the XDM is pulling ahead in that regard. The XDM comes from the factory with 3 magazines. It also comes in what a lot of people like to call the suitcase. It's a fairly large box, contains the gun, a paddle holster, the 3 magazines, and a magazine holder that you put on your belt. So right out of the box, even if you ignore the holster and the magazine holder, you come with 3 magazines, and their magazines have these X grips, and they slide on. They're difficult to slide, but they do slide. And these come in sizes. So you can buy this grip, this little sleeve, or you can buy the magazine with the sleeve already that matches the back strap. So when you do put the extended magazine in, you actually end up with a very smooth, seamless extended grip. So I can convert this gun to a full-size gun for range day, or to a compact gun, simply by swapping out the magazines. And I can buy additional sleeves if I want to end up setting this gun up, different sizes for different shooters. So when I spend the money to buy the extension and the magazine, I'm actually getting magazine capacity with it. There are extended magazines available for the Sig, but basically all you're getting is the magazine, and you still aren't doing anything really to get that additional grip or that additional finger. From a shooting perspective, both of them have been fun to shoot. They're easy to shoot well. I've actually done quite well with both of these. It does, however, seem that I get just a hair better with the XDM. It's just overall, I seem to be able to shoot the XDM just slightly better, even though it is actually set. My hands are smaller than Hammer's, and this is set up for Hammer's hands. From a trigger perspective, they both have very good triggers, so let me demonstrate the triggers. Pop out the magazines. So we've got, once you close the little tongue for the drop safety, so we'll take that out of it. So I've got the tongue down and my fingers on the trigger. There's the take-up, so it's relatively short take-up. A defined wall and a reasonably crisp break. There's just a hair of creep as it breaks. A longish but not super long reset. It's not a super short reset like some of the Glocks. Back on, and then break again. And let me show you the Sig. So we'll start with the take-up. There's very little take-up on the Sig. That's all the take-up you've got. And a very distinct crisp wall. Relatively short reset, and you're back on that real crisp wall, and then the break. Overall, the Sig trigger feels just a hair heavier than the XDM, but it's a little crisper, a little bit better defined. So from a trigger perspective, it goes a little bit in the favor of the Sig, though the XDM's trigger by no stretch of the imagination is a poor trigger. It's just the Sig does kind of edge ahead in that realm. As far as ergonomics, both guns are relatively well designed as far as ergonomics. They're smooth and rounded, nothing to hang up on. Both of them have a decent beaver tail that allows you to get your hand up in there and avoid slide bite. The controls on these guns are very well laid out, very easy to get a hold of. For example, to get to the slide release. Takedown process on them is very similar, and I've got, in the regular videos on these I go into that in detail. But you lock them back, flip the lever down, open them up, and they come apart like most all striker guns do. And one thing I did state earlier that turned out to be incorrect, the slide release is ambidextrous on the P320. So if you're looking at these two guns, you've got about a $100 price difference. The Sig Sauer is about $100 less expensive than the XDM. However, the Sig Sauer in our case came with 2 magazines, and the 45s appear not to come with the holsters that some of the other caliber P320s come with. So the XDM came with the 3 magazines. That's generally $30, $40 right there. So from a price perspective, though the XDM is a little bit more expensive out of the gate, when you combine the extra magazine and the fact that it uses the back straps instead of having to replace the whole chassis, in the long run the XDM is probably equal or maybe slightly ahead when it comes to, value, bang for the buck. I'd recommend either one of these guns. They both have worked well, the Sig, once it got through its break-in period. Overall though, if I had to pick one, I would choose the XDM. What I've found is that the XDM's excellent reliability right out of the box and built-in interchangeability, especially with these magazines with that grip extension, making it a nice seamless grip, which one other note I'll add, it's never pinched us. The way it's set up, some of these extended grips have a tendency you can get your finger right there and get pinched. This gun has never pinched anybody who's been firing it. So between the two, if only one was available, either one would be a good choice. If both are available and you can get past that $100 upcharge to get the XDM, go with the XDM and it truly will not disappoint you. If you like our videos, give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, have a great day.